Welcome, my friends. Here we are on another cheap ass beer review with Dr. Dave. Cheap ass beer. Remember, just because it's cheap doesn't necessarily make it a bad beer. It just means it's inexpensive. Yeah, this beer I'm going to have today, I don't think I've ever tried this beer. And what I mean by that is on a beer review on my channel. Now, of course, I tried it when I was a kid. We all drink beer when we're kids, right? Let me take it out of this beer sleeve. I always keep it in a beer sleeve, which is frozen, and it keeps the beer at a relatively cool temperature. Yeah, it's Pabst Blue Ribbon, no doubt. Yeah, out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, I don't know a lot about the history of this beer. If you want to know the history of this beer, I recommend that you try fellow YouTuber Jay Terrio's channel on Louisiana Beer Reviews. That guy's a walking encyclopedia of adjunct lagers, and I mean that in the kindest way. But anyway, I see that Pabst, I went on the website, and I see they are the brewers for many iconic brands like Rainier, Olympia, Stag, and the list goes on and on. So apparently they picked up those licenses, and they brew those beers now under license. But anyway, this is a 24-ounce can, and the date on the bottom says we should enjoy it before October 11th of 2021. So we're not even into August here, so it's good. And I have a receipt here from Walmart. It says that this 24-ounce can was $1.99. Now, this is the most expensive cheap-ass beer that I've bought to date. But if you do the math on that, it's a little bit less than $1 for a 12-ounce beer. That's what makes it a cheap-ass beer, the price. It's not that the beer has inferior ingredients or anything like that. That's what makes, in my definition, a cheap-ass beer is the price. I don't really know what this is brewed with. Now, it says on here the finest yeast, barley, and hops. It doesn't say, though, if it's made with corn or corn grits or any of those other ingredients I've run across. Hop extract. It doesn't say that. Hop extract. What the hell? They don't even use real hops. Hop extract? But it doesn't say any of that on here. And it doesn't say anything about, what the hell was it? High fructose corn syrup. They don't say anything about that on the can because all the other breweries deny using that. But it doesn't say corn syrup either. So, Dr. Dave, cheap-ass beer glass, baby. Yeah, I'm proud of that. I designed that myself, and you can't quite read it on the screen here, but it says Dr. Dave's Cheap Ass, and it says beer reviews on the bottom there. Yeah, you can't quite see that on the camera. All right, we're going to go ahead and try this beer. Now, I have a couple of craft beer buddies who tell me that, when they go out to a bar that doesn't serve craft beer, that this is the beer they like to order. So I've got high hopes for this beer. I got high hopes, baby. It's poured a very clear golden color with lively carbonation, and it made a nice amount of foam. Nice bright white head on there, and the carbonation streaming up from the bottom. I remember the old beer commercials. What do you have? Pabst Blue Ribbon. Well, what do you have? Pabst Blue Ribbon, baby. It doesn't have that sickening sweet aroma that some of the adjunct lagers I've had in the past have had. It does smell a little sweet, but it's not sickly sweet. Oh my God, no. A grainy is how I'm going to describe this. Grainy. And it is bready. I'm not going to say white bread, but it is bready. Let's go ahead and top her off here. Yeah, let's go ahead and fill it right up. Now, if I had poured this straight in, it would have quite a bit of head on it. I can tell it's very lively carbonated. All right. Cheers to the brewers at Pabst. Even though it's all computerized, it's still quite a bit of work to brew beer. And cheers to you at home, no doubt. There's not a whole lot of flavor or aroma to this beer, partly because it's so cold. Now, what I'm going to do, as I do on all my cheap-ass beer reviews, is I'm going to allow this beer to warm up for about 12 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to come back because that's the amount of time that generally a beer sits on the bar before somebody finishes it, unless you're a maniac and you finish it in 5 minutes. Yeah, about 15 minutes is the average time that a beer is going to sit on the bar before somebody finishes it and orders another one. So that's what I'm basing that on. It's very inoffensive, though. It's got very light malt flavors in there. It's more malty than it is hoppy, which is the case with most adjunct lagers. All right, my friends, give me a couple minutes and I'll be back. All right, my friends, this beer has been sitting here for about 15 minutes, and let's find out if it has changed its complexity and so on and so forth. Now, I haven't done anything to the beer since I turned off the camera. It's got some lacing clinging to the side of the glass, which is always a good sign. It still has some lively carbonation after 15 minutes. Well, let's see. I still get that strong malt presence, a very strong malt presence, and still very greeny. It smells a little bit more sweet than it did before. Cheers. Let's find out. I tell you what, I am so surprised that this beer is drinkable after 15 minutes. I really am surprised. Now, like I said, I've had more than one person, probably at least 3 or 4 people that I can think of right off the top of my head who drink craft beer on a regular basis, but have said, good things about this beer. And my one buddy says on tap, you can't beat it. So, yeah, Pabst Blue Ribbon, 4.8%. I am not going to be drinking this beer on a regular basis. I'm certainly not going to put it in my cart at the supermarket, but it's a decent beer. I find it inoffensive. Now, I made some notes here. I wrote it down. 30 12-ounce cans for $18.49 at Walmart is what I saw. So remember, you always take the money. I always tell my students this all the time. They didn't get it. Take the money and divide it by the number of units. So $18.49 and divide it out by 30 is 0.616. So that's going to round up to 62 cents a can. And that's what makes this a cheap-ass beer. But I have to tell you, before and after, I'm going to have to give it 4 out of 5 stars and maybe even bump that up to 4.5 stars. Yes, it's not offensive. Even after it's warmed, it's not offensive. So if I went into a everyday run-of-the-mill bar and they had no craft beer at all, and they had this on tap, I'd definitely order it to be sociable. Sure, I'd order it. No way. Yeah, there's no way that I'm going to sit there without a beer. Well, I've only had probably half a dozen cheap-ass beer reviews, but so far, this is the most expensive at $1.99 for 24 ounces, but it is the best one. And it's not bad. I got to tell you, it's not bad. No matter what you like, my friends, don't worry about what I say or do. Drink whatever you like. Yeah, and if you like cheap-ass beer, let me know. Let me know what kind of cheap-ass beer you want to see me drink. I'd like to have some of those old-time favorites, so like Olympia, a Stag, Rainier. What was that other one? Peels? Yeah, Peels, P-I-E-L-S, Peels. Yeah, I'd like to find some of those. And Old Style? Yeah, I'd like to find some of those beers. Enjoy life. Life is short. Cheers to that.